President, honor delegates, observers. Deep sea mining has the potential as no other human enterprise in history to fundamentally alter lives, ecosystems, and societies. As an ocean futurist, it is my duty to stand at the furthest reaches of the intersection of humans, technology, and the ocean and offer guidance to the best outcomes. As deep sea mining begins, we know that the bounty awaiting beneath the water belongs to all mankind. We all share in the responsibility for the environmental and social impact of deep sea mineral extraction. If mismanaged, deep sea mining could leave future generations with a massive environmental debt to repay. We applaud the thoughtful exploitation code, specifically the sections requiring restoration of the seafloor and equitable benefits sharing. As it may be difficult to totally restore the mud basins of the extraction fields, secondary mitigation sites for fish reefs along the continental coastline would serve to make the ocean whole. The reefs will directly benefit millions of small-scale fishermen around the world who otherwise would not benefit from the deep-sea mining. Building and enhancing coastal reefs will provide large-scale and sustained long-term drought-resistant food security and food sovereignty to states, especially those suffering from food logistics issues, storm and drought impacts, the effects of war, or agricultural malaise like locusts and crop disease. Reefs that sustain coral and kelp sequester millions of tons of carbon dioxide directly from seawater and thus buffer ocean acid levels. We thank those that have raised concerns and issues over the past decade. However, the time for alarm bell ringing is over and the era of solutions has begun. The era of solutions has begun. The era of solutions has begun. I say it 3 times because it is an important mental shift that all must make moving ahead to achieve maximum ocean health. It makes sense to expand reefs wherever possible. Every 50 square meters of new reef will support about 1,000 kilograms of new marine life to feed the people. The new marine life includes vast new coral beds and kelp forests that provide habitat for millions of grouper, snapper, lobster, and provide feeding and breeding grounds for sea lions, sea turtles, and even sharks. It has been a privilege for the Reef Project to be an observer at the International Seabed Authority now for 7 years. The ISA has used international relations in concert with the original intent of the United Nations, which is to provide governance where none exists. There could be no better application for the UN governance than on the high seas, where in the past great nations would have certainly clashed over such valuable assets as manganese nodules. But now peace will rule the day, under the guidance of the ISA. Under the ISA oversight, deep-sea miners will have every reason to conform to best practices. It is our privilege to welcome Somalia to the ISA. This resolute African nation, now in the process of re-emerging on the world stage, has joined ranks to become the latest nation to pledge to be host of the Great African Food Reef. The Great African Food Reef one day will sustainably employ and feed millions of people as it bolsters ocean health for each nation and the world. Somalia has the longest coastline in Africa, which is home to highly strategic waterways and untold seafloor resources, and as such will be a vital voice in years to come at the ISA. Fish reefs maximize ocean net productivity by creating habitats on the seafloor for the ubiquitous plankton, the foundation of the marine food web. Plankton settle on the reefs rather than perish. The result of such ocean enhancement is millions of tons of new marine life. This mechanism can be a primary worldwide tool to move the dial in favor of ocean health and drought-proof food security. It is becoming a common conception to see the ocean itself as a living entity. Some might even say that she is a sentient being. And as a species, if we were to communicate with the ocean as a whole, we would say to her on the eve of deep sea mining, Mother Ocean, mankind needs your minerals. So we are taking them in the best way that we know how. But in return, mankind agrees to repay you by making vast new coral reefs and kelp ecosystems. Perhaps the ocean, as the mother of us all, might nod in understanding that mankind is at least making a best effort to give back more than we intend to take. And if we do it right, leave the ocean in an overall better state than we found her before we started mining. The Reef Project would like to wish fair wind and following seas to all the brave mariners who are going to sea in the coming years to harvest and study the nodules. We ask that you work. When you work, please consider the balance of nature and the social equity that faraway reefs on coastal shelves and on African coastlines will bring to your endeavors. And may you enjoy many safe returns to your home ports. Thank you, President.